Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the Monday, November 14th City Council meeting. I invite you to join me in the mindfulness moment to welcome ourselves and others to our community local government meeting. I invite you to either close your eyes or put your gaze downward. The purpose of a mindfulness moment is to get our attention focused and fully arrived after our Monday and get ready for the meeting. Why don't we take a big breath in, cleansing breath, and let that out. Maybe you were stressed from the day like I was with my work day, and now is a time to notice how you're sitting, find a way to be relaxed and alert. We'll continue taking 3 more breaths. Exhale. Your next breath is a little deeper and slower. By inhaling for four counts and exhaling for 5 counts. One more for good cleansing breath. I don't know about you, but I feel better. Needed that. So give yourself permission to let go of your busy day. Remember to wish yourself well. Wish other community members who are here, maybe for the first time today, and ready to come together as members of the Ferndale community. So with that, let's stand and do the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, can we have roll call, please, Mr. Clerk?
James.
Here.
Leaks May.
Here.
Mikulski.
Yes.
Polika. Here. Piana.
Here. Next up is the approval of the agenda.
I move to approve the agenda as published.
Support.
Moved by James and supported by Polika.
James.
Yes.
Polika.
Yes.
Leaks May.
Yes.
Mikulski.
Yes.
Piana.
Yes. We have no presentations tonight, so we're getting straight to call to audience, which is typically earlier in the meeting than normal. So if there's anybody in the audience who would like to step up and leave comment, I ask you to do so now and have your comments to 3 minutes. I believe Kara will put on the timer to help you be mindful of the time, and direct your comments to council, not staff, because staff take direction from council and the city manager. Thank you. Welcome. It's good to see you.
Hello, thank you so much for some time this evening. I'd like to share some information with the community. We have today opened up our waiting list for public housing 1-bedroom apartment units. So the information is on our website, as is the application button. I tested it this morning and it took me less than 30 seconds to put my information in. It's a very straightforward, very simple process to apply online. I wanted to call the community's attention to this opportunity because it's a chance to qualify to get onto our waiting list for our 1-bedroom units at either 500 East 9 Mile or 415 Withington. We do have preferences applied to the waiting list for those community members who are elderly, which is 62 or older, or who may be disabled, and also for anyone who currently lives, works, or is hired to work in the city of Ferndale. There's a preference applied for that category as well. You may apply to be on our waiting list if you are a single person and you're at or below 80% of the area median income, which is I didn't bring my readers up here, $50,150. So if you earn that or less and you're a one-person household, for those who have two people in their household, it's $57,300. So if you're at or under that with a two-person household, you would be eligible to apply to the waiting list. So if in doubt, I suggest you go ahead and take the 30 seconds to throw your name on that list. And the worst case scenario is that when you get called in to do a full application, you'll have a chance to see the unit and see if it may be a good fit for you or not. But this is a great opportunity to apply to our waiting list. We do cap rents at 30% of your monthly income, and that's how we maintain affordable units for lower income families within the community. So all of that information is at ferndalehousing.com. You can look at our complete public notice, which contains the information that I just tried to rattle off, and you can also apply there. So I'd be happy to answer any questions about our program or the application process if there are any.
Through the chair. So you're opening up the application process. Is that because you have a number of units that you are going to be filling, or is it something that's expected down the road?
We get a couple units every month come available, but we try to manage our waiting list to be no more than a couple years long. And it's just, we did a wait list purge, which sounds terrible, purge, but but we, every so often we do send out notification to everybody who is on our waiting list, just asking them to update their information and confirm that they're still interested. And then based on that and how many people we have, and how many people we have with the elderly or disabled preferences, we open up our waiting list periodically to make sure that we have 1 to 2 years worth of people who are interested in our units. But we turn over, I'd say a couple a month. So depending on where you are on that waiting list, you could get a unit quickly, or you might be waiting months or even more than a year.
Thank you.
Sure. Questions? Thank you so much. I look forward to hopefully getting lots of community members interested in joining us at Ferndale Housing Commission. Thank you.
Anybody else would like to make public comment tonight? Come on down, Michael.
Oh, well, I've got some good news for you. The City of Ferndale and the Downtown Ferndale DDA is host to this weekend's Jingle and Mingle, November 18th and 19th on West Troy Street in front of the DOT parking structure. Jingle and Mingle will feature fire pits, DJ music, kids play zone, and food trucks, plus holiday evergreens and garlands, shopping for seasonal home decorating. It might be chilly this weekend, but the patio zone is still open for business. Participating bars and restaurants in downtown Ferndale will be featuring seasonal adult beverages that can be brought to the event to enjoy. There's also a food drive. Bring a non-perishable food item, dried or canned only, to benefit the Renaissance Vineyard Community Food Pantry of Ferndale. Bring boxed or canned food items to donate. All donors will be entered for a chance to win one of 4 Amish all-natural turkeys sponsored by Western Market. Jingle and Mingle will take place from 5 to 10 p.m. on Friday and noon to 10 on Saturday. Our sponsors are WOMC 104.3, WWJ 950 News Radio, 99.5 WYCD Detroit County, the country, First Merchants Bank, Western Market, Ascensions Medical Group, Vibe Credit Union, and Ferndale Elks Club. Jingle and Mingle is a social gathering event to kick off the multi-holiday season, blending fun and the spirit of giving. If you would like more information, go on Facebook under events and just type in Ferndale Jingle-Mingle for more information. Thank you.
Thank you, Michael.
Hope to see everybody there. Bundle up.
All right, anybody else who would like to make comment tonight? All right, seeing none, I'm going to close call to audience, and we're going to go on to our agenda item number 6. And we have 2 public hearings tonight, and the first one up is 6A, consideration of the special land use application at 1642 East Webster. And we have a 4-step process with public hearings. The first step is staff presentation, which includes any comments from the applicant, as well. Step 2 is public comment. I open up that for anybody who would like to give comment on this item. And then step 3 is we move to council questions of fact-finding to staff and the applicant. And then step 4 is motion and debate, where council makes a motion so that we can actually go into discussing the dynamics of the application. So with that, I'm going to hand this over to Kyle Bryce, our planning manager, to take us through the staff presentation.
Thank you, Council. So tonight we are here on behalf of the applicant, 40S Holdings. They are seeking a special land use review and approval for 1642 East Webster. This is located on the southwest corner of West End and Webster. So this is in the southeast corner of the city. It's a few streets north of 8 Mile. Hopefully you can see this image here. So it's right on the corner. Specifically, we're going to be focusing on this garage here in the back. So all of our residential districts permit a accessory dwelling unit, or an ADU. Specifically, it has to be above a garage, and it has to be accessory to the principal structure, and it requires a special land use. So the applicant is proposing to demolish the existing typical, no apartment garage, and replace it with a new garage with a apartment located above it. So the location is more or less the same, but it's going to look quite a bit different. So here are the drawings for the proposed ADU. So as you can see, we do have the garage on the first floor, and we do have an apartment above. I have some floor plans. I'd be happy to share them as well. So I can bring up the applicant at this time. I don't have too much to add about this. This did go through a public hearing review at the Planning Commission level. We didn't have anyone who spoke up about it. I've not received any written comments to date. I will say that this has been on our books for quite a long time, the idea of having an ADU above the garage with a special land use. To my knowledge, and I asked around staff, nobody has seen one of these go through this process before, so this is somewhat new for us. But I do think it's also indicative of maybe it's something of a challenge. So we had a discussion with the Planning Commission after the item was concluded about ADUs in general, how we can make them perhaps easier to go through the process. I know it's one of our provisions in the master plan to increase housing density in the city, to create a more varied number of units and different types of units throughout the city. So I can tell you that this is something the CED department is looking into, and we will be bringing options for ADUs in the near future. But at this time, I'd like to bring up the applicant if you want to say a few words about, your experience in Ferndale and why you're looking to do this.
Hi.
Hi there,
My name's
welcome.
Kevin, here on behalf of 42 Holdings and one of the partners.
I'm Brian, one of the other partners.
Just a little background on us. We both are residents of the city of Ferndale. We both lived here for years, and we run a business out of Ferndale. Our office is in Ferndale. We're home builders primarily, and we also are involved in other real estate ventures. And so the idea, we've been to a lot of conferences and other things like that on affordable housing. And I mean, as I'm sure everybody here knows, it's a pretty big issue right now. And the ADU is something that keeps coming up at them, and driving density and other factors like that. And so when we found out that Ferndale offers a provision for that, we were like all about it. And so we have the resources and the people and the know-how, I guess, to push something like this through. And we want to be a part of that, and that's kind of why we're here right now. I don't know if you have anything to add to that.
Nope.
Excellent. Well, I appreciate you being here to support your project and champion it. It's nice to see. Thank you. All right, well, I'm going to open to public comment, seeing conclusion of the staff presentation. Is there anybody here who would like to provide public comment on this application for accessory dwelling unit on a garage called an ADU in zoning language? All right, seeing none, I am going to close the public comment period for this public hearing and move to council questions for Kyle and/or the applicants at this time.
I'll kick it off.
Okay.
I really only had one question. I read through the materials, and this is really more out of curiosity than anything. Is the footprint a little bit larger such that the little teeny driveway area where there's a car parked on the map that you pulled up, is that going to be now covered by garage, or will there still be that little mini driveway leading up to it?
Yeah, there will be a little bit of a driveway. So I believe the structure is a little bit bigger. It's certainly a little bit taller, really by only a few feet, surprisingly, and it is a little bit further away from the southern property line. Ultimately, one of the, I guess, issues that we've noticed is that these structures have to be constructed under the confines of our accessory structures ordinance. So that means the midpoint of the roof has to be 16 feet tall. It has to be 5 feet from any property line unless it's fire rated. And it has to be above a garage. So adding all those, dimensional requirements to box in the apartment has created some difficulties, especially the height. I think that's been the biggest one. But I think they have the know-how and they've had the commitment to design the structure. So again, I guess I'm rambling about things we want to maybe consider in the future, but we're excited to have this one potentially go through.
I made through the chair. So I like the new approach to affordable housing. I guess and another curiosity question. With that addition over the garage there, would that be, I'm just curious, what would that be to house? Just one person? What are you kind of thinking? I'm just curious.
In this scenario, it's probably a one-person,
One person?
young couple, a young working professional, something like that. Just with the size constraints of the lots and all that, we can only make it studio.
Okay.
If we did this in a different scenario where we could fit a larger structure, we've already drawn concepts of 2-bedroom units or multiple other ways to do this. Just with this one and the lot constraints, we had to do it to meet all the zoning.
Is this your property in Ferndale then?
Yes, it's one of our properties.
So you have
This
more
isn't
than,
my primary residence.
but you have more than one in
Yep.
Ferndale? Okay, all right.
May I follow up on that? What's the square footage of the studio, just as an FYI? I didn't see it in the packet here. I'm just curious.
Off the top of your head.
I'm in the staff report right now, so I might have missed.
329.
How much?
329.
329. Okay, helpful.
329.
Any other questions for Kyle? If not, we need a motion to proceed.
I move to approve in the matter of 1642 East Webster Street, Sidewell, number 25-35-453-019. After a public hearing was held as set for this date and place, the City Council approved the special land use based on plans dated August 25th, 2022, with the following findings as listed in the packet 1 through 6.
Support.
Moved by Polika and tied between Leaks May and Mikulski, and I'm going with Mikulski.
Polika.
Wait a minute.
Oh, sorry, excuse me.
Are there any comments before we proceed?
Just that it did go rather quickly. There was really nothing for me to add from the Planning Commission. Kyle shared everything that took place. It went through the conversation pretty quickly. I think most people are in favor of this type of density housing, and the one thing that we did have a conversation of and we need to look at is maybe making this process a little easier, so it doesn't require someone having to come twice to two different bodies to get approval. That's it.
I'll just add, has less to do with this particular one and more to do with the process and making ADUs more accessible. I support sort of what you were hinting at, that we might want to tweak and expand and make it a little bit more flexible, whatever that may look like in the future. I think anything that we can do to make these reasonably a little bit easier to add to our community, I think it would be a good thing. And I'll just add to that, the reason that part of why I'm interested in this, in addition to affordability being a major issue, I just think a lot about, a lot of our housing stock is very focused on sort of the way that nuclear families looked a couple of decades ago for a very long time. And our demographics are changing so that, in-law suites for multi-generational housing are becoming more important. We have more and more single people, younger, non-traditional families looking for housing, and I hope that our community can accommodate the changing demographics of our city and of the broader cultural changes.
Through the chair, if I can add on to that, you look back 20 years and Ferndale was filled with a lot of younger people, artsy kind of people, and unfortunately, we've kind of priced them out of the community, and I think this is another opportunity for us to create, spaces that are a lot more affordable for those single youth people who, want to work in the community and live somewhere cool.
I want to make a correction about the market.
Well, yes. We
This
didn't,
council
it wasn't
body,
us, yes.
Did not do that.
Yeah.
And if I may add on, since you are an early adopter of our current ADU ordinance, I hope that you will be a partner in helping us advise on how to improve it.
Lots of suggestions.
But I mean, you had the option of waiting, until we finished. That could be literally another 8 to 11, who knows, 2023. So I appreciate you taking these risks and working with the city to figure it out as we go. That's how we've done it with our short-term rental ordinance, relying on partners to help advise. So thank you. All right, back to the city clerk. Vote call, please.
All right, Polika.
Yes.
Did we decide Mikulski? Mikulski.
Yes.
James.
Yes.
Leaks May.
Yes.
Piana.
Yes, go forth and build and share your knowledge with the city. Thank you. All right, we're moving on to our next public hearing, which is 6B, the public hearing for Sidewalk Special Assessment District, and our DPW Director, Dan Antastic, will take us through this, first with a staff presentation, and then public comment, and then city council questions, and then we move to motion and debate.
Yes, good evening tonight, Mayor and Council. So what started, I think, 6 months ago, we're finally starting to wrap up the whole sidewalk special assessment district and sidewalk replacements. So in the month of September, the sidewalk replacements took place. and we replaced approximately 1,400 sidewalk flags throughout the city of Ferndale. That also includes some of the work that the city did along our property with our parks and so on. We replaced sidewalks in the districts from 8 Mile to West Marshall and Woodward to Livernois, and then 8 Mile to East Hazelhurst, Woodward to the railroad this year. In total, between the property owner assessments and the city's share, we did roughly $277,000 worth of sidewalk replacement this year. Really how it breaks down is $249,000 was to the property owners, and then the city's share was $27,000 for the sidewalk replacement on our property. So during the month of October, the city sent out notices to everyone impacted by the sidewalk replacement program. Those notices did include the final cost estimate for the sidewalk replacement. And in addition to that, it included instructions in regards to hardship and meeting with the city's hardship committee. Now, we did tweak some things, as council may recall. Those in the past that had a hardship in paying for their sidewalk assessment had the ability to extend their payment over a specific period of time, as long as they also paid interest on that for extending that out. So one of the things that we did this year is we worked with Emily Loomis, our assistant building official, to utilize some of our community development block grant dollars that we kind of reprogrammed from our minor home repair program to help subsidize those that met those qualifications for CDBG. So the city's hardship committee did have an opportunity to meet today at 6 p.m. The one thing that we did do is when we sent out those notifications, we included the contact information for Emily. Residents prior to November 10th and up to November 10th had the ability to submit an application, their supporting documentation, for us to see if they actually qualify for hardship. So the hardship committee met, they were able to go over those applications. In total, we received 8 applications for hardship at a total cost of $3,213.50. When we originally estimated what we may subsidize as part of this program, because this is our first year doing it, we estimated roughly $5,000 possibly. So those are so it basically would be the hardship's recommendation that we do provide hardship and subsidize those 8 property owners for the cost of their sidewalk replacements this year. And then in addition to that, one of the reasons we are holding this public hearing tonight is we set November 10th as the cutoff date to pay your sidewalk assessment in person without it being added onto the winter tax roll. So those that have not paid, as of last Thursday, those costs for that assessment will go onto the winter taxes, which will be sent out very soon, and you will have to pay by February 28th. So at that, I'll turn it over to council.
All right, so thank you for your presentation, and I'm going to open up the public hearing for public comment. So it is 7:30, I'm opening up the public comment. Is there anybody in the audience who would like to give comment on our sidewalk special assessment district that we do annually? All right, seeing no one in the audience who would like to give public comment, I'm going to close public comment and turn it over to the city council for questions to Dan. Who would like to start?
If I may, through the chair. So those 8 property owners that will be able to utilize this hardship, I don't know what it's called, assistance. Were these individuals all within guidelines, or is it because we are like within the budget that you're able to just take all 8? I'm just curious. I'm glad you're able to take all 8. I think that's great.
So the $5,000 that we estimated was really based on conversations that we had with property owners when we originally sent out the estimate of and notice of sidewalk replacement. Whether we had to add a little or decrease a little, really the main thing with this new program is to just be able to help people and not penalize people, and adding on interest and, stretching out their payments. So all these property owners that submitted, they submitted the required material, which was, state issued ID, proof of income, and you fill out an application that's your name, your address, and contact information. So that information we were able to verify, and then since they met those qualifications, we can, fully subsidize the cost of that sidewalk replacement.
Through the chair, in full disclosure, I'm on the Sidewalk Hardship Committee, so I'm going to ask a question that I know the answer to. But if someone receives their tax bill with their sidewalk assessment added, and at that time they realize they meet the hardship qualification, what can they do?
I would encourage that individual to reach out to myself, reach out to Emily Loomis. I'm sure that we can work something out to help those that need that help, require that hardship. Finance may have to do some accounting magic, whatever it is that they have to do, but it's a pretty good team over there, so I think they could probably accomplish that.
Thank you.
Other questions from council? If not, we need a motion to proceed.
Go ahead.
Oh, sorry. I move that we approve the final cost estimate for the Sidewalk Special Assessment District 2020-2021 and apply the special assessment to the 2022 winter tax roll for property owners who have not paid by November 10th, 2022 unless granted deferment by the Sidewalk Hardship Committee and as submitted by the DPW Director.
Second.
Moved by Leaks May and seconded by James. Thank you, council, for supporting this new approach and for staff executing it really well. I just appreciate that we're trying new things.
Can I add to that?
Sure.
I echo what Mayor Piana just said, and I actually prefer the new approach where we can fully subsidize those that qualify, as opposed to deferring payment with interest applied to it. I'm grateful that we were able to come up with this solution.
Thank you for putting forth this idea. I appreciate that. All right, we have a motion on the floor. Clerk?
Leaks May,
Yes.
James,
Yes.
Mikulski,
Yes.
Polika,
Yes.
Piana.
Yes. All right, that is approved unanimously. Thank you, Dan, and the special, what's it called? Sidewalk Hardship Committee members. All right, now we're moving on to consent agenda, and I'm going to read its entirety, and city council can choose at their pleasure what they would like to do with it. All right, 7A, approval of the October 24th, 2022 meeting minutes. 7B, approval of the first quarter budget adjustment. 7C, approval of the proposal from Smith Group in the amount of $46,500 for Wilson Park Design Services, an authorization of the initial payment of $3,850 for a geotechnical survey at Wilson Park. 7D, approval to submit application for the America in Bloom CN Eco Connections grant to receive up to $25,000 with a 1-to-1 match. 7E, consideration of the appointment of Dean Lent as interim city clerk. 7F, approval to backfill the Parks and Recreation Deputy Director position due to the resignation of the incumbent. 7G, approval to submit application for the Shade Structure Grant offered by the American Academy of Dermatology in the amount of $8,000. 7H, approval of the payment to the State of Michigan for the Community Public Water Supply Annual Membership Fee in the amount of $6,657.93. The expense charged to Water Sewer Fund membership and dues. 7I, approval to submit applications for grant funding offered by the Ralph C. Wilson Legacy Fund. 7J, approval to purchase Titan Pro Plus leaf machine with headsets from Bell Equipment in the amount of $99,000. 7K, approval to submit grant application for grant funding from Consumers Energy for $50,000. 7L, approval of bills and payrolls. And 7N, approval to suspend parking enforcement of the downtown parking system for small business Saturday scheduled for November 26 as submitted by the city manager. What is the pleasure of council?
I move to approve the items on the consent agenda as published and read by Mayor Piana.
Support. Moved by Mayor Pro Tem James and supported by Councilwoman Mikulski.
James,
Yes.
Mikulski,
Yes.
Leaks May,
Yes.
Polika,
Yes.
Piana.
Yes, and that is approved unanimously. And now we're moving on to the regular agenda, number 8. And it is 8A, authorization to submit applications for grant funding from the Michigan Department of Natural Resources SPARK program. And presenting this on behalf of the Parks and Rec Department is Emmanuel. Good to see you.
Good to see you.
Lots of grant writing going on here.
Yeah.
Put out quite a few.
Yeah, absolutely. And we thank you for your consideration for this one as well. This needed to go on the regular agenda because it is mandated by the application criteria for this particular grant. So this is the MDNR Spark Grants program. You may be familiar with MDNR from our frequent grant applications yearly for the regular grants. However, this one is a little bit different. This grant represents a $65 million effort on the parts of the Michigan Department of Natural Resources to infuse capital into projects that create outdoor spaces and create opportunities for health and safety and outdoor activity. It is made possible through legislation that was passed in March of 2022 by the state that made this funding available to different parks agencies. Each individual award ranges from $100,000 to $1 million, and each agency is allowed up to 3 applications for different projects. There's no required match for these, which is wonderful, and it is also, like many of the previous MDNR grants, this is a reimbursement style grant that we would front the money for and then receive reimbursements throughout the course of the project. Like I said, the projects must support public health and safety outcomes. So here's the breakdown of the timeline. Round 1 of applications are due December 19th, and round 1 awards will be announced in January. MDNR will be hosting 3 different rounds for this, so any applications that don't receive funding in the first round are eligible to be amended and resubmitted for rounds 2 and 3. They're making an effort. I believe in the first round they said they're going to give away $15 million, and then in rounds 2 and 3, 25 each. The awarded funds must be committed to third-party contractors by December 31st of 2024, meaning that all of our funding needs to be allocated in some form of actionable activity for the projects that we're discussing today. And the grant project completion deadline is October 31st of 2026. So we have a bit of time to implement these projects if we decide to move forward with them. The 2 projects that we're talking about, you should be familiar with because they are the same MDNR applications that we've submitted in previous council sessions. The first one is for an outdoor recreation support facility at Martin Road Park, which will have concession stands, additional restrooms. You should remember this from March. The second project is our Wilson Park Improvement Project, which has received numerous grant funding, but we've also seen costs increase since the initial time that we wanted to implement some of these changes at Wilson Park. So this particular infusion of funding would help us renovate the park to a place that we wanted it to be rather than what we can do with the funding available. Just to give a little bit of background, this is the proposal for the Mountain Road Outdoor Recreation Building that we're talking about. We discussed demoing the accessory building that is currently standing and constructing a new edifice in its place. This is the same slide that we presented at the MBNR one earlier this year. And this is the current available funding pool that we have for that particular project. All of it from the Land, Water, and Conservation Fund, which was approved of last year. The second one is obviously the Wilson Park Improvement Project. This is the design concept B for that project. This is what we are currently working off of, but we are, as you just approved, going to have Smith Group create a new design, a comprehensive design, as part of the proposal for projected scope of work that they're going to be completing. So we'll be able to throw in more elements. We'll be able to get more phases of the project done with a grant like this. And yeah, it'll make Wilson Park one of the destination parks in the city. This is the available funding pool that we have for Wilson Park. You can see a total of $477,000, of which, if I could do quick math, $141,000 plus 25. I'm not doing that right now. But that much is the city's responsibility. But the great thing about this particular grant is it will help make up for that match. So it'll reduce the burden on the general fund if we were to receive funds through the Spark grant. A lot of what they're doing is just trying to make their infrastructure, outdoor infrastructure for our parks in the state better. And here's the suggested action, and that's my time. Did anybody have any questions about anything?
I had one question, if I may start off. I wasn't sure how much you were applying for. Are you applying for 400,000 or $1 million?
We're going to be applying for $1 million per project.
Okay.
That's the plan, at least. Well, we'd like to apply for up to $1 million. Let's put it that way.
Okay. Very good. Sending good juju to this grant.
We appreciate it.
May the decision makers see the value in our project.
Oh, and this item is recommended that we open it up for public comment as well.
Okay. Well, then if there's any questions from council.
I do, if I may through the chair, just for clarity purposes. So there is funding already available due to grants and matches and things like that.
Correct.
To start these projects and move forward.
Yes.
And you will receive, you hope to receive this grant to kind of, and you would submit reimbursements throughout if you do receive the grant for them to, you'll submit costs to this grant, and then they will reimburse you. Is that correct? Okay. All right. That's what I needed for clarity. I just wanted to make sure. And like the mayor said, I hope you get it.
Thank you.
I completely empathize, and I'm sorry that it's a reimbursable grant. Those suck. But I am doing one now with the federal government, and so there are a lot of extra work. So I appreciate staff working on that.
Well, as long as we could deliver a quality parks experience for the public in the end, that's what matters.
With that, I'm going to open it up for a public comment. Is there anybody here who would like to give public comment on behalf of this Michigan Department of Natural Resource Spark Program grant application on behalf of our Parks and Rec Department? I think everybody's getting ready for Thanksgiving. All right, seeing no public comment, I am closing public comment. And with that, I'm turning it back over to council to make a motion.
No
questions.
No questions. I did want to share that this project directly aligns with the Facilities Task Force recommendations for creating an indoor-outdoor facility at the Martin Road Park.
Excellent. We need a motion to proceed.
I move to authorize the Parks and Recreation Department to submit applications for grant funding from the Michigan Department of Natural Resources SPARK program as submitted by the Parks and Recreation Director.
Support.
Moved by Polika and supported by Leaks May.
Polika,
Yes.
Leaks May,
Yes.
James,
Yes.
Mikulski,
Yes.
Piana.
Yes, and that is approved unanimously. Good luck to your team. Good luck to Ferndale.
Thank you.
All right, believe it or not, we are at the end. And we are moving on to call to council. And kicking off call to council is our city manager with department updates.
Thank you. Thank you, Mayor. Tonight we will be, Emmanuel, I'm just going to keep you up there. If you could just give your updates for Parks and Rec.
I assumed. So just a few quick announcements. We want to let everybody know that we just had our ribbon cutting for our story trail that was implemented out in Martin Road Park. Mayor was out there along with several members of the Ferndale Area District Library, who has been a wonderful partner for us and who has brought, Councilwoman James, the Area District Library has been a wonderful partner for us, and we appreciate their support in helping bring valuable amenities to the Martin Road Park Trail. We also want to announce that on December 3rd, we will be again hosting our annual Santa Parade. I paused because I keep wanting to say Breakfast with Santa, and it's not that anymore. We'll be hosting our Santa Parade at various different parks, with Schiffer Park being the feature attraction where you'll get to meet Santa, sit on his lap, make some s'mores, write some letters to Santa, and drop it in the Santa mailbox. More information on that will be announced on Facebook this week. We are partnering with DDA to put this on, so we appreciate their support as well. And we also, I guess, need to announce this to the city. I don't know that all the employees and everything know, but our Deputy Director, Lisa Bryant, is going to be leaving us for a new career opportunity. So we'll be losing a good one in the Parks and Recreation Department. I want you guys to know that. But we appreciate the work that she's put in over the year, and we wish her nothing but the best. That's all from Parks and Rec.
Thank you, Emmanuel. And we're very disappointed to have Lisa depart, but know that her dreams are her professional dreams are somewhere else and closer to home.
Thank you, Emmanuel, and I'll take the opportunity to thank Lisa for her years of service to the city of Ferndale and the Parks and Rec Department. Lisa, you boosted our Parks and Rec programming and gave it some lifeblood, so I wish you nothing but the best of luck on behalf of the city administration. Dan Antosik from DPW. Are there any leaves left at the trees?
No, because they're all in the streets on the west side of Ferndale. So if you could stop raking, we would love that. There really is a lot of leaves on the west side of Ferndale. I wouldn't be surprised if we maybe run a day late or whatnot based on our schedule. Also, if we factor in the rain, possibly snow that we should have sometime tomorrow into Wednesday, that may push us back. But don't worry, we will get the leaves. Next week with Thanksgiving and the holiday, those that have their trash and recycling collection day on Thursday and Friday, we'll see those days delayed. So if your trash is collected on Thursday, that'll get picked up on Friday. Friday pickups, that'll be on Saturday. Same thing goes with curbside leaf collection. If we don't make it through our route between Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday, we will be back out either Friday or Saturday to finish up that collection. So, like I said, stop raking your leaves, let us catch up a little bit, and if you do have any questions regarding when we'll be where, Communications put together a great map, or just give us a call at the Department of Public Works, and Andrea will let you know. Thank you.
Thanks, Dan.
I'm going to throw it over to Dean Lent, our interim acting city clerk.
Thank you. We had an election last Tuesday, as you may be aware, on November 8th. Voter turnout was higher than anticipated, which is wonderful, at 66.8% here in the city of Ferndale, much higher than Oakland County, which is about 60%, and state of Michigan, which is around 55% there. So we were very happy about the results there. Big thank you to all of our wonderful election inspectors who volunteered their time to help us out. including the two individuals here on the board here that managed our highest voter turnout precincts at Precinct 6 and Precinct 1. So thank you, Councilmember Pollica, and thank you, Councilmember Lise May. Yeah, that's about it. Thanks.
And I'll go ahead and close out those comments.
Can I ask a question?
Yeah.
Not tonight, but can you email council what the voter turnout were for the 3 proposals, how much it passed in Ferndale?
Most definitely. Yep.
That would be helpful to know.
Yes.
Thank you, Mayor. I will close out. Also, I just wanted to officially congratulate Dean on a wonderful performance. Really happy with Dean and the work that his predecessor, Anthony, have done over the past few months to set us up for success. Dean, you responded with integrity, and Hayston, I have received multiple positive customer service feedback comments from multiple different sources about Dean and his entire team, so that includes Randy too. Thank you, Randy, and thank you, Dave Movia, for stepping up as well. A reminder that the holiday weekend for city is also next weekend, so we will, city offices are closed in observance of the Thanksgiving holiday on Thursday and Friday next week, so we have a short agenda week next week, staff. And then on Saturday, we celebrate the DDA's promotion of Small Business Saturday by suspending parking enforcement. Council just authorized that resolution during this evening's agenda. So appreciate council's effort there, and I encourage everybody to attend Small Business Saturday downtown and spend your bucks in downtown Ferndale. And a reminder that the Assistant City Manager, Kyle Paulette, will present the Capital Improvement Plan to the Planning Commission this Wednesday. And if approved by the Planning Commission, that will advance to the City Council for the November 28th meeting at a public hearing. And one update from the Communications Director on our website process, which hopefully is coming to a conclusion. And then I'll cede it over to you, Mayor.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. Quick update about the website process. So you all know, but I will let the public know as well, that we are in the last 8 months of our contract with our existing website vendor. It's been about 6 years that we've been working with them, and we will be looking now to switch to a new company. We issued a public RFP the very end of July, closed in early September. We got a lot of responses. I believe we had almost 40 proposals respond. And so then we went kind of into an internal committee. I want to thank everybody here in the city who lent their expertise in going through the many different proposals we got back, including Councilwoman Mikulski, who lent her expertise. And we are in the final stage right now. We have our top list of contenders. We are looking at contracts as we speak and doing our final calls, and we expect to have this item to present to you all on the November 28th council meeting. So I will be very excited to have a proposal to put before you and have us get into the part that I actually like, which is the making of the website and not the process of hiring the website company. So that's all for me.
Perfect. And Mayor, it's to council.
Excellent, thank you. I'm just going to start on my left tonight with Councilman Pollica.
Two things. One, I want to also congratulate Dean and his team on a very successful election last week. It was crazy, but anytime that we had any issues that came up at the precincts, Dean or Randy were always available to communicate with us and help us resolve the issue. So appreciate all the hard work that you've done. And the other thing is, I just want to wish everyone a very happy Thanksgiving. That's it.
Yes, so I want to echo those sentiments. I mean, you did a great job in working with us, even through the hiccups. You did great in supporting everyone in the precinct, and I heard nothing but good comments and regarding the performance for you and your team. I just want to thank the police department for your response today for the incident at the high school. As a parent of 2 children in the schools, it was very unsettling, and knowing that you all were on it and worked very swiftly, I can't thank you enough, so thank you so much for that. Also, Ferndale Marching Band, 11 state championships. We did it. I have to tell you that. We did it. And also, I wish everyone a happy Thanksgiving. Spend it with your families, and thank you. I'm grateful for everything this city does for this community and how we all support one another. And I just go into this holiday being very thankful for many, many things. So thank you all. That's it for me, Mayor.
All right, I'm just going to go down the line.
I will echo everyone's positive comments about the story trail opening. My daughter thoroughly enjoyed it. She almost didn't quite make it to the trail itself because it started snowing. Then she had to play on the playground to get her temp up, and then we did the trail, and she really enjoyed it. But most importantly, I want to thank and give a shout out to DPW. They are constantly helping us in our parks projects and helping to keep costs down by doing a lot of the work internally. So I want to make sure that they get their props as well. That's it.
Thank you. Councilwoman Mikulski.
Well, the echo continues. I really think that this election was run absolutely flawlessly. Great turnout. Everything was efficient. Everything was safe. But I did want to thank an unsung hero, our Director of Communications, Kara Sokol. You were very quick to respond to many very anxious residents who posted things on social media, and I really appreciate that. So thank you.
And I'm just going to join the echo. Safe and transparent and accessible elections were really a priority for every community across the state of Michigan. And I always have confidence in our city clerk department, as well as all departments who support, which is an all-team effort basically on election day to support elections. And so, Dean, kudos to you, and kudos to council members who volunteer to be election inspectors, as well as all of our volunteers, which I try to go around and thank them all for giving up their day of work to do something that's so important to democracy. In addition to the jingle and mingle, there is a ribbon cutting ceremony for one of our downtown business owners for Bags and Beads at 3 p.m. on Saturday as part of the jingle and mingle. So I encourage everybody on council, the school board and library board, and whoever wants to come out and support one of our downtown business owners. Not only is the 19th helpful to Jingle and Mingle, helpful getting people to shop local before the actual small business Saturday on November 26th. So please come and help and support our businesses in the downtown. And I too wish everybody a happy Thanksgiving, no matter who you identify as your family. It's about coming together and being grateful of who we have in our lives, and who we may have lost this year. With that, I am literally calling this meeting at 8 o'clock. That might be a record. Everybody have a safe and happy holiday.